Hello from Topeka. I'm Marley Carpenter, your KSCPA lobbyist. Last week was a full week in the Kansas legislature with floor debates and action on over 140 bills. First adjournment is scheduled for Friday, March 28th, followed by an almost 2-week break before veto session on April 10th. The Senate on Tuesday set the stage for a contentious conference committee with the House when they approved a $10.58 billion state general fund budget for fiscal year 2026. The Senate version implements a 3% across the board reduction in state spending compared to the House's 1.5% cut. The Senate also reduced funding to the required Gannon court costs for education funding levels, which excludes any additional funding for special education. The House did add $10 million for special education. The Senate budget also includes $36 million for state employee raises, but it also includes a provision that all executive branch employees must return to the office and withholds $4 million from the governor's office and Department of Administration until they certify the elimination of all diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. The legislature also passed SCR 1611, which is a constitutional amendment that will let voters decide on the August ballot whether to elect Kansas Supreme Court justices or leave the current judicial selection process in place. The Senate Tax Committee last week amended the House's property tax constitutional amendment with the Senate-passed language instead. The Senate passed SCR 1603 in February, which proposes an amendment to the Kansas Constitution capping the annual property valuation increases to 3%. The House overwhelmingly passed its own version, HCR 5011, earlier this month that would limit increases to a rolling average of property values statewide. While the legislature has struggled this year to find real solution for property tax increases, leaders are simultaneously looking at providing tax relief through income tax cuts as well. Bills in both the House and Senate cleared the floor this week and are headed to Tax Conference Committee. They both provide a mechanism to trigger future income tax reductions as state revenues exceed inflation. This would ultimately bring the state to a single tax rate of 4% in the House bill or 4.5% in the Senate bill, both for personal and corporate income taxes. Attorney General Chris Kobach's legislation requiring Kansas employers to use the federal mandated E-Verify system to confirm employee work eligibility was effectively killed last week. The Senate Federal and State Affairs Committee narrowly voted Senate Bill 196 down despite attempts to narrow its scope to just government employees. The defeat represents a significant win for Kansas Business Coalition for Immigration Reform, which includes more than 24 business groups who strongly oppose the measure. Also last week, the House had Senate Bill 51 on general orders. That bill offers a substantial sales tax exemption for data centers that invest at least $250 million and employ 20 employees. The Department of Commerce reports that there are 14 potential data center projects in their pipeline. The bill, however, was sent back to committee. It has passed one body, so it can be worked in a conference committee. The Senate also passed House Bill 2304. The bill requires local governments to report certain local economic development incentive programs to the Secretary of Commerce. Also, House Bill 2119, which in the House version eliminated the low-income housing tax credit, but was worked by the House Commerce Committee to retain the 9% credit for outdoors. The bill has been and will be considered by the Senate this week. Finally, the Occupational Licensure Senate Bill 229 was amended in the Senate Commerce Committee and passed by the full Senate this week. The bill now requires the Secretary of State to review and implement any new occupational licensing requirements. Since the bill has passed one body, it can now be considered by conference committee. With that, we will be following all these issues as well as many others. Please let myself or Danielle know if you have any questions. Thanks so much and have a great week.